welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't posted in several months. I have been quite busy traveling, and a whole lot of things have been happening. However, I just wanted to change the direction of my YouTube channel. So it took me a very long time to think this through and to come to the conclusion that I was ready to actually move from making it, from having made it a construction sort of YouTube channel, because I'm an engineer with a serious love for architecture. So if you've been following this channel, you've probably seen me going through construction of my dream home in Lagos, Nigeria. I'm in a different home. This is my other home in West Africa, in a West African country. And I'm here on vacation, so it's kind of like an Airbnb home where I just come and take a break sometimes. So I've been reflecting and meditating, and it's just occurred to me that I should talk about something else that has been very, very interesting to me, some new discoveries which I would like to share with you. So bear with me. The focus of this channel has changed from being primarily of construction and building channel to now more of still kind of a spiritual construction and building, right? Okay, so here goes. I'm just gonna jump right into it and let me know what you think. Okay, so the title of this episode is Spiritual Bloodlines. Ignorance is no excuse, right? Okay, so hear me out. If you fall into the 4 categories I'm going to list down, we all fall into one of those 4. And when you realize where you fall into, you have to either understand your spiritual bloodline and power or remain ignorant. I hope not. Anyway, so here goes. So these are the 4 spiritual bloodlines that we all have to understand and fit into. So the first category is people who know their bloodlines. They know where they're from spiritually, and they understand the power and they use the power. What does this mean? Where your parents are from, how spiritually enlightened they are. If they're very light, when I say enlightened, I'm talking about love, peace, joy, kindness, everything good and amazing. If your parents are all of that, then you come from a very light, enlightened background. It's all about love. It really is. So if you're conceived and loved, if you were loved as a child, and you grew up just being surrounded by loving, calm, wonderful people, you're already in a very good bloodline, right? Spiritually, because these are very soft things. You might come from a very poor home, but your bloodline is full of love, kindness, gentleness, and all of those wonderful virtues. Then you have a great bloodline. And apart from the physical expressions, that we call love, kindness, there is a deeper spiritual meaning, right? So, deeper spiritual source. If your parents are so enlightened that they know, right, that there are certain things they've had to encounter in the invisible world and overcome, that has given them the peace and prosperity and love that they are enjoying physically, they have to share those things with you. And by the time they share those things with you, you will now be conscious of your power and you will use it for good, right? And if you feel attacked, you can actually still use the same power to defend yourself. In other words, for bad in a way, but really, some things are even justified in law. You can, in self-defense, kill. So you might have such a powerful spiritual bloodline that has manifested into a physical environment of love and kindness and all of that, and you're aware of it. It's a very powerful thing, and you have to be conscious of how you're using this power, correct? Good. Now, the second category of people are those who don't have the power and they know, right? So, unfortunately, not all of us are born into loving, enlightened, spiritually enlightened homes, right? So we have to make do. So we don't have the power. We were conceived in maybe hatred or anger, envy, lust, you name it, all the negative virtues. We were raised in anger, your parents always arguing, there's never enough to eat, never peace. You can't even live in one house, moving from house to house, just disorganization. That means you don't have that spiritual power, and you know there's something missing. So you're conscious of the lack. Unlike the first category where they are conscious of the abundance, right? Of love and peace and prosperity and power. You are conscious of the absence of all of these great virtues. And it's going to be doubly hard for you, but not impossible. It's going to be hard for you to get that power, because you now have to consciously, you don't have it, you were not given love. So how do you give it? You can't give what you don't have, and you can't have what you were not giving in the first place, right? So you're going to have to look for sources of love, sources of kindness, sources of, gentleness, peace, prosperity, and you're going to have to pull them into your life. It's going to be very difficult for you, but not impossible. You can do it, okay? And that's why I'm here, to show you how you can do it. Because I come from this category, right? Negatively conceived in very negative energies, because, when you're conceived out of wedlock, it's a whole other, I don't want to go into all of that. Though my parents got married a few months after I was conceived, and I was born in wedlock. However, the conception was probably one of, lust or fear or whatever, all those negative energies that eventually led to the marriage. And it's still, so there was a power lacking. So when I say bloodlines, spiritual bloodlines, ignorance is no excuse. You need to know how you were conceived. Was there love? Was there a marriage? Was there a commitment? Was there peace and prosperity? Okay, so we'll move on now. The third category are those who have the power. They were conceived in love, and maybe along the line, parents separated, they lost that connection, and now they're grown up, they don't even know that they have a conceptual bloodline of love and peace and power. And they're roaming around the world completely ignorant. Ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is not bliss in this circumstance. It's actually very dangerous, because that power, although the power is there, but because they're unconscious of it, they would use it in any way. So when they think negatively, it's amplified. When they think positively, it's also amplified. So if they're not careful and they keep thinking negatively in the sense of anger, hatred, depression, all these horrible virtues, it will be amplified in their lives. And they find themselves just struggling when they shouldn't be, because, they hold a certain power that just amplifies everything they think about, everything they want to do. And so these types of people who are ignorant of this power that they carry, and a lot of people are like this, if they make the mistake of just having a little bit of hatred, a little bit of anger, a little bit of, depression, they can really truly ruin their lives because it will be so amplified. It will block all good things. So ignorance is no excuse. In fact, it's become so dangerous. So you find them 70 years old, 60 years old, 80 years old, miserable. They look back with a lot of regret. They don't even understand why. They don't know why. They're like, why did all these things happen to me? Because they hold a power they were ignorant of. And that power amplified the negative. And when the negative starts happening and they fall into that cycle, they're unable to come out of it unless they get special help. Okay? So the fourth category are those who don't even have the power. And they don't even know. I'm laughing. It's not funny. It's very, very dangerous. So these are people, these make up maybe 80% of the world today. People who are living who are conceived in anger, hatred, distrust, lust, all sorts of negative energies. And they grow up having no clue. So they already don't have the power. They already don't even know they are so disadvantaged. And they bumble through life, jumping from pillar to post, trying every new fad, making a ton of mistakes. Sometimes because they're so ignorant of their lack of power and they don't even know, they take risks that will land them either in the hospital, in jail, or in the grave. Those three places are places that people should not be in until they're well over 75. If you find yourself in the hospital often, I'm not saying all illnesses have a spiritual source, although some people will say they do, and most of the time, if you really look at it, they probably do. So if there's sickness, poverty, incarceration, death, ultimately, those four things are happening to you, it's a high likelihood that you have no power and you are not even aware of this lack of power. You are just rolling through, eating what you like, going where you like, sleeping with anybody, doing anything, taking all sorts of risks. And before you know it, it always ends the same way. Death, incarceration, hospital bed, poverty. I don't want those for you. So you really, really, really need to find out which of these four categories you fit into. So number one is they are powerful and they know it. And they use it for provision and for protection and for love. Number two, they are not powerful and they know it. So knowledge, first of all, is key because ignorance is no excuse. They're not powerful, but they know. And they know, you know what? I've got to look for these powers. I've got to get resources. I've got to learn. Ignorance is no excuse. I have to pull love to myself, pull provision to myself, pull, protection. Because we live in a very dangerous world. It's not just physically dangerous, it's spiritually. It's a war zone, it's a battlefield, right? So those are the people in the second category. So these first two categories have knowledge. They know. Either they have the power or they don't. And they're going to do anything to either get that power or keep that power. They're very dangerous people. If you are their enemy, if you are their friend, you are blessed. Okay? And the third category of people who have the power but don't even know. A good example, for instance, is someone like Prince Harry. He has the title, the power of the monarchy. But it's, for some reason, maybe he wasn't really schooled on it. He seems completely ignorant of this power. And he finds himself in a completely different kingdom where his power is not even recognized. Recently, the American press told him, this is not the UK where you tell us to, you demand for us to send you back pictures we took. This is not your kingdom. You are powerless here. Go to where you are powerful, if you can. So those are people who have power and don't know. Again, ignorance. It's no excuse. If you don't know your power, you will find yourself scrubbing toilets somewhere else, in another country for another kingdom. And they will tell you you are powerless there. If you don't know your power, you find yourself in relationships that will abuse you, use you, and discard you. If you don't know your power, you are completely ignorant and you become a slave. You can be a prince. Your bloodline has prince or princess, king or queen in it, but because of your unconsciousness, your ignorance, you become a slave somewhere else. You need to know who you are. And over the next few episodes I'll be explaining how you figure this out. Look around you. Are you a slave? Slave is not they put chains on your hands and then, you are being dragged to another. No. Some of you are slaves in very beautiful homes. You are not free. You can't eat what you want. You can't go where you want. I wake up, I can eat what I like. I can go where I like. I'm free. But if I can even sleep the whole day if I so desire, right? But if you have to wake up a certain time, nobody is saying a job is a form of slavery. But if you are unhappy, if you are forced to wake up, go there, do what you don't want to do, come back, and then you have illness at the end of the day, as most of the money from your job go into, it means you are ignorant of your power. So look around you. What kind of lifestyle are you living? Are you able to achieve your goals? Are you struggling? If you have the power and you don't know it, my sister, my brother, you will struggle. You will really, really struggle. And it's a very, very dangerous situation. You find yourself working jobs you don't want to work, going to places you don't want to go to. Even some people are married to people they don't want to be married to. Look at Prince Harry, for instance. He's living in a country, he's out of his kingdom. Living in a house with people who are not his kith and kin, who are not his subjects. To the extent that even the press is telling him, you can't control us. Are you in a place where your staff tell you you can't control them? You might be in your own home, but if you cannot tell your maid or your nanny something and they disobey, my sister, my brother, if you tell them to do this and they do something else, you're not in your kingdom. You are ignorant of your power. Your power, your words must go out and your will be done. Thy will be done. Your will be done. As you say it, it will be. So I'm spending a lot of time on people who have the power and who are ignorant of it because it's a very, 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 very dangerous situation. It's like you have a diamond, but you're wearing cubic zirconia. Do you understand? Or you have a crown with all the jewels in the world, but you're wearing a face cap. It doesn't make sense. So knowledge is very important. You need to now find out who you are. What is your power? How will you use it to surround yourself with the blessings that power commands, right? And the fourth category is those who don't even have the power and they don't even know. Oh, this is a sad situation. If the other one is dangerous, the third category of people is dangerous, then this fourth one is tragic. And this happens when a lot of people are conceived with a lot of negative energy. If it's lust, anything but love is negative. If it's not pure love between the two people during conception, that's already a negative and dark conception. It's a powerless concept. That child is born with little or no power. The child now grows up, maybe parents, of course, the child is conceived in so much, negative energy. The parents usually don't stay together. Maybe after 4, 5, 10 years, they split. So this child is struggling again through life without that guidance from two people, loving people. maybe has one loving parent. Or even you find orphans who don't have any loving parent. So they're growing up completely, it's really tragic. And that's why if you can bless orphans, bless them. Go to an orphanage, give them something. Be kind to them because they're already born and abandoned. You can imagine the kind of difficulties, the dark energies. If it's poverty that made the parents abandon them, that's already negative. If it is hatred, if it was, all sorts of negative. So these orphans are there. If people lose their parents before the age of 18, again, orphans. So they don't have that loving power to support them through life. I'm not saying only orphans. And you can have some people who have single-parent homes or, even two-parent homes. The negative energy is so much that these children are born without that loving power. And I'll define this power in the subsequent videos. And so they don't have it, and they don't know that they don't have it. So we all dress up and go out, and everybody looks all pretty and all happy and all whatever. And over time, sort of, oil and water will separate. The oil are those who have the power, who know they have the power. Those who have the power, who don't even know, they still have some advantages. Those who don't have power and know, they still have an advantage, they have knowledge, so they will go and gather it. The ones who don't have the power and don't know are in the worst category because they will think they are like everybody else, right? And they will think, oh, okay, everybody's going to bungee jump. I will bungee jump. And it was their own rope that we cut because they're already powerless and ignorant. So you need to figure out where do you fit in. And I've tried my best to give examples of each category so that you can sit back and think, okay, I think I am the first one, I'm powerful, and I know it because I can look around my life. I'm married to who I want to be married to. I'm in love with who I want to be in love with. I'm doing the job I want to do. I'm living in the house I want to live in. I'm free. I can do my YouTube videos at any time I like. I can go to sleep. I can dress up and travel. My children are in the best schools. My spouse is in the best job. Everything is okay. You're happy. You're at peace. You're healthy. Your physical health is perfect. I'm in my 40s, and honestly, I feel like I'm 22. And it's very, very important that you know the power and you're using it to give you a happy, peaceful life. The second category, I'm just going to give you characteristics of these 4 categories. So you can look into your life and decide, okay, I think I know my power and I'm enjoying it. And the second category of people who don't have the power, and they know. So you look around you and you say, oh, I know something is missing. I didn't get that job that I really wanted. My will is not being done. I tell people this, they do something else. I share my secrets, they expose me. I know something is off. There's no power. I need to get power, provision, protection from somewhere. How do I go about it? You begin your quest. That was my category. So I spent a lot of time in the church trying to figure out how do I get this provision, protection. I knew there was something missing. As early as 15, 16, because of my conception, I knew the spiritual bloodline it needed work, right? I knew. And some of you know something is missing. So you need to find how you're gonna, fill that gap. And you have to be very careful because you could go into the wrong hands and they give you the wrong solutions and you can spend many years trying to undo what one bad contact has done. So when you know something is missing, you look around you and you see a lot of gaps, you see a lot of disharmony, and you're looking for solutions. So I spent a lot of time in the church, I got some solutions there. I did a lot of research into the Grail movement, into Islam even, into Hinduism, Buddhism, because I knew I needed to fix that foundational lack of love in my conception. Do you understand? So those are the characteristics of that second category. Now the third one is where you have the power and you don't even know. How dangerous. And I gave the example of Prince Harry, for instance. This is the prince of the most powerful kingdom in the world, living in someone else's house. He first of all lived in Tyler Perry's house. Imagine that. Someone who has palaces and castles. That is what happens when you don't know your power, but you have it. So, this is a very, very dangerous situation because you become people's slaves when they should be your servants. It will be reversed because you are powerless. You're powerful, but you are ignorant. Ignorance is you don't know. Maybe they didn't spend the time to teach you and you too didn't take the time to go and learn. Do you understand? So let's come back to us lay men and women. How would you know if you have power, but you're ignorant of this power? If you know that you were born into a very wealthy family, but you find yourself, as at now, working for somebody else who you know socially, mentally, spiritually, physically, is not your equal. And they talk to you with disrespect, they treat you with disdain, you are unhappy, you're miserable, you're like a fish out of water. Every day you're asking yourself, you are saying to yourself, I am not supposed to be here. They abuse you, they use you, they discard you. You're powerful, so they need you. They take what they can from you and they let you go. That's exactly what's happening to someone like Prince Harry. His power has attracted all sorts of people. They will use him for clout, and they let him go. So look around you. You're a beautiful woman, fit for a king. And then you're being used by riffraffs who are not even fit to polish your shoes. It means you're powerful and you don't know it. Because your health is still intact, your beauty is still intact. That alone is power. But if it's not in the right hands, and you are not in the right place, you are ignorant, then you have to learn so that you can channel this power to the right place, with the right people, and you don't waste your time, you don't waste your life. And even if you're a man, you find yourself, you do business with people who seem trustworthy at first. The business goes well. When it finally succeeds, they say no, they don't want you in that business anymore. There was a power in you. They saw it, took advantage of, and now they're gone. You find yourself being duped. You find yourself being used. Women come into your life, they take money from you, and disappear. They don't love you, they don't want to be with you. But they see some sort of, you have something. Wealth is power. It is something, you have a lot of things. You are able to attract money, but you can't get love. You're not getting respect. You're not getting kindness. You're not getting these great virtues because you are ignorant of that power that you carry. And you're not channeling it in the right direction. So you find yourself with the wrong people at the wrong time. And the fourth category, what are the characteristics? People who don't have the power. First of all, they were born in very negative energies. And they are completely ignorant. They just think, life is, c'est la vie. And it's a very dangerous, it's tragic. So they think they can do what the people in the first category are doing. People in the first category who have power and are conscious might decide, okay, they're going to go and climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And the person in the last category who has no power and is unconscious will say, yes, let's go and do it together. This person in the last category will end up falling and cracking their skull because they don't have that protection, they don't have that power. Or maybe as they are going, something will go wrong. You will stop them at the airport, their luggage will be lost. You know, all these little inconveniences. They come because of a lack of knowledge, lack of power, and how to channel it. So these are just a few random examples, and there are millions of examples. But sit through your experiences in life and try and see where you fit in. And if you fit into a category that is other than 2, 3, 4, any of those, you need to look for knowledge. You need to work. You need to do something. When I say work, it's not get a job, go to an office. No, these are deep spiritual meditation, kinds of work, which I'll try and show you over the course of this channel. So those are my thoughts on spiritual bloodlines and how ignorance really is no excuse. I hope you have learned something. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope that you would comment on, where you're fitting. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay? Well, thank you for listening, and see you soon. Bye.